Alright, today we're going to be looking at Devon LARRATT versus GENADI KVIKVINIA. Of course, this is a rematch, and it's one that I think we wanted to see for quite some time because the last match was just so good. It was so back and forth. I really had no clue who was going to win until the very last minute. Such a good match. This one was a little bit different. Obviously, Devon was pretty dominant overall in this match. He did end up losing one round in the very beginning, but that was just on fouls, and it's always so difficult to start a match with high-level people like this who obviously both want to get a good setup. It's always going to be really difficult to determine who is initiating that would cause a foul to begin with, so I don't ever really try to blame the refs in this case. It's just a really difficult job there for them. But Devon does lose that very first round just on fouls. This is the very first ready go that we see, and Devon is basically doing a high hook. He's committing his shoulder. He's maintaining pronation and cup all at the same time. So the last time these guys pulled, if I remember correctly, I believe that losing to GENADI was actually the very thing that caused Devon to start training his inside game a lot more, and then progressing from that GENADI loss, we saw that Devon's inside game started getting better and better after that. He started doing all of those kind of old-style multi-spinner lifts that he used to do quite a bit that involve a lot of shoulder commitment and a lot more side pressure. And so I think losing to GENADI is really what helped Devon to become a better all-around arm wrestler. He had that super great Kings move, that super great open top roll. But after GENADI, he really started to have everything that he used to, all of the tools in arm wrestling, not just one or two, at the higher level. Now, of course, it looks like Devon has made huge progress from the last time he faced GENADI to this match. Obviously, if we look at this round one performance, if you guys remember this, Devon just goes right through him. He does this high hook, and he pins him in, I think, less than a second, and in an inside lane, and you can see GENADI has a pretty decent position here. Obviously, Devon's is more dominant. There's more shoulder commitments. But the first time these guys pulled GENADI in this position, Devon was not just able to go through him. Devon had to really, really commit and just grind out that match. And when GENADI, even in this defensive hook kind of on his bicep, when GENADI was in this position the last time these guys pulled, Devon was not just able to go through him, and it even looked like maybe GENADI was a little bit more dominant in this position. If you guys remember, he's shoving Devon off the pad. It really looks like Devon is having to redline to get the pin in the last match, whereas this one, he just goes right through GENADI, super easy to the pad, no struggle whatsoever. Now, again, it's difficult to tell because going into this match, GENADI was coming off of an injury. So is Devon really that much stronger, or is it just because GENADI got injured and that's why he was able to go through this bicep a little bit easier? It's difficult to tell, but I would think it's probably a little bit both. I think overall Devon is stronger in his inside game, but potentially GENADI's bicep stopping power here is not quite as good as it was the last time they pulled. Now, another thing that we saw Devon doing in this match is you would kind of go in this inside lane. Now we're looking at I believe round 3 here, and we're going to see him kind of roll out after this. So he goes kind of in this hook lane, and I think one of the things Devon was doing really well in this match that you can see here is he was doing a really good job controlling GENADI's thumb, and he's really emphasizing his cup, because if you guys know, if you've ever tried to flop press without having your pronation engaged, it's really, really difficult. In what we saw the last time that Devon ended up losing to GENADI, he lost, I think, one round, and then the last rounds was through a flop press, or at least a flop press initiation by GENADI. So what Devon is really trying to make sure does not happen in this match is that GENADI wedges that shoulder in and isolates Devon's bicep like happened last time. And by really controlling GENADI's thumb with his cupping that you see here, that's going to make it extremely hard for GENADI to wedge in and get a flop press going. And he kind of has nowhere to run right here. So Devon is just chilling out right here. He's gassing GENADI's bicep out. And GENADI, like I said, he has no escape. He can't go out the back. He can't go through Devon because of this wedge Devon is creating with his bone line. And he's not going to be able to flop press because of that cup. So I think Devon doing all those multi-spinner lifts, really training his cup, probably translated to this match very well for him. And he ends up getting the pin. Of course, GENADI gasses out after 20 seconds or something, and then Devon gets the pin. Now we're going to see one more time in this round, kind of the same thing. Basically, Devon is going to initiate outside, and this one was a little bit interesting because, as you guys can see here, there's this big gap underneath Gennadi's pinky. And if you guys watch this round in slow motion, what ends up happening is Gennadi kind of initiates, and then he pushes past Devon quite a bit. And Devon doesn't really fight this. So Gennadi's basically shooting the hook. He's trying to push past, get more depth in his grip. And sometimes arm wrestlers would avoid this. They would try to do a low hand and fill that gap that's being created so that Gennadi can't get around. But what I noticed in this match is that Devon didn't really care about that. I don't think he was ever worried about his ability to roll out. There was a big enough gap that Devon always knew he was going to be able to top roll versus Gennadi. The much bigger concern is Gennadi's flop press. So you see, Devon doesn't really fight this. He doesn't really fight the hook from kind of being set because he's more concerned about controlling Gennadi's pronation and controlling Gennadi's thumb. And you see here, he kind of rolls out to this almost low grip top roll. It's a very interesting looking top roll. But you can see here's Gennadi's top thumb knuckle, and Devon has a very low grip right now. You can see he's not capping. He's underneath Gennadi's bottom thumb knuckle, but he's still kind of in a top roll here. So I think basically what he's doing, like I said, is he's blocking Gennadi's side pressure with this wedge he's creating with his forearm bone. But the very important part of this is he is not allowing Gennadi to flop press underneath and get to his pronation. If Devon had a much higher grip, say that Devon's knuckle was capping with his knuckle and he was very high up onto Gennadi's top thumb knuckle, that would potentially give Gennadi more of a lane to kind of dump underneath to gain access to his pronation, wedge his shoulder in and get a flop press. And of course, that was how Devon ended up losing the last match. So Devon is sacrificing quite a bit of material here. He's allowing Gennadi to get that really deep grip and kind of chop down on his arm to a certain extent, but he's okay with doing that because even though he's sacrificing that part of his game, he is being able to control Gennadi's pronator and eliminate the chance of him doing a flop press. So I think that this was a really great move. And then Devon eventually, he comes around, he kind of, we see him going in and out of this kind of open top roll move. He sort of starts to commit his shoulder, then he rolls back out and he's kind of testing the waters. Because as he's committing to this move, he has to be careful not give Gennadi too much power, but also not allow Gennadi to get into that flop press, like I said, if he has to bail back out to the outside move. But eventually Devon is able to commit. He gets an incredible position here, super, super dominant with the shoulder commitments. And what's interesting is that even here, I don't know if Devon started to gas out a little bit or this was just a better position for Gennadi, but it really looked a lot more difficult for Devon in this final round to actually get this press. And it looks like he really has to redline here to get this final pin. But overall, I do think that Devon has made significant progress in his inside game, in his outside game as well, and also that kind of transitional area and his ability to block someone's ability to get into a flop press to begin with. So super awesome performance from Devon LARRATT here. I hope that we see Gennadi continue to do well and continue to recover. Like I said, it's difficult to know how good Gennadi was in this match because of his injuries, but hopefully we get to see this match even one more time. Maybe Gennadi can get stronger and do something because I really love to see when these guys pull. There's just so much energy and it's always such a great match. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later.